What if everything you experience, every sight, sound, and sensation, is not as real as you think? As surprising as this sounds, there's a growing body of knowledge suggesting that reality as we know it is nothing more than a controlled hallucination shaped by our minds. It's not just spiritual thinkers saying this. Science and ancient philosophies have pointed to this truth for centuries. The world you see, the life you lead, it's all a product of perception. The good news? If reality is shaped by perception, you hold the power to change it. Ready to do it? Then let's start with a story. The power of our perception. There's an old fable called The Snake in the Road. It's about a man who came across a snake while walking through a dark forest. Filled with fear, he froze, his heart racing. The snake seemed enormous, poised to strike. His mind raced, panic setting in. But when he moved close, something remarkable happened. The snake vanished. Instead, he saw a rope lying on the path. The snake, it turned out, had never existed. It was a creation of his mind, an illusion triggered by his own fear. The man mistook a simple rope for a dangerous snake because his mind was clouded with panic from walking through the dark forest. The same thing happens when, at night, we see random objects in our room and imagine them as something scary or unsettling in the dim light. A pile of clothes might look like a lurking figure, or a shadow may appear as something menacing. Our minds, influenced by the uncertainty and fear that often comes with darkness, can create illusions. These two situations are powerful metaphors for how we experience life. Often, we're confronted with situations, people, or thoughts that we interpret through the lens of our past experiences, emotions, and beliefs. We see snakes where there are only ropes. Our minds construct a version of reality based on what we believe is true, and then we react to that version, often with fear, stress, or anxiety. But the key is understanding that this version is not fixed. Like the man in the forest, when you shift your perception, the snake disappears. Our brain creates the world. In modern times, neuroscientists have explored this idea with increasing depth. One such concept is that our brain doesn't simply react to the world. It creates it. Think of your brain as a prediction machine, constantly using past experiences to form a picture of the present and future. The brain processes the data it receives, light, sound, texture, and matches it against stored patterns. It's like looking through a filter that colors everything based on what you already believe. This is why two people can experience the exact same event and walk away with completely different interpretations. Their brains are creating realities based on their own internal stories. The ancient yogis understood this too. They taught that the mind shapes the world through its endless stream of thoughts. In the Bhagavad Gita, one of the core teachings is that the mind is both the source of bondage and the key to liberation. If your mind is filled with doubts and fears, then the world you live in will reflect that. But if you master your thoughts, if you quiet the constant chatter, you can begin to reshape your experience of life. You are not at the mercy of an unchangeable world. Instead, you are the creator of your world. Now you might be wondering, how do I change my reality if it's all in my mind? What steps do I take to shift this controlled hallucination? The answer lies in mindful intention and reprogramming your mental landscape. Just like the man who saw the snake, you must first become aware of the illusions your mind is creating. This requires presence, the ability to observe your thoughts without getting caught up in them. Meditation is one of the most effective tools for cultivating this presence. When you meditate, you learn to detach from the endless stream of mental stories and view them from a place of stillness. It's from this place that you can begin to see the ropes for what they are, instead of mistaking them for snakes. The more you meditate, the more you'll see that reality is fluid, not fixed. You are not a victim of circumstances or external forces. Instead, you are a co-creator with the universe, constantly shaping your experience through your thoughts, beliefs, and actions. The boundaries of your life are not determined by the external world, but by the limitations you impose on your own mind. When you remove those limitations, when you realize that reality is a flexible construct, you unlock the potential to transform not just your life, but the entire world around you. Think about how reality has been altered in history. Think about how reality has been altered in history through the power of belief. One of the most striking examples is the fall of the Berlin Wall. For decades, people on both sides believed that the division between East and West Germany was unchanging. It was a solid physical barrier. But the moment people's collective mindset began to shift, when they started to believe that a unified Germany was possible, that seemingly impossible vision became reality. In just one night, the wall, which had stood for nearly 30 years, crumbled. Not because of any government action, but because people believed deeply that the world could be different. The shift in their inner reality led to a shift in the outer world. What reality am I creating? So ask yourself, what reality am I creating right now? What stories am I telling myself that shape the world I live in? And most importantly, how can I begin to change them? The moment you start to question these things is the moment you begin to take control of your hallucination. Once you understand that reality is a product of your mind, you can begin to mold it in any way you choose. The possibilities are limitless, and no one can stop you except yourself. And once you do this, you can start doing what we call conscious creation. The art of conscious creation. This is the practice of intentionally shaping your reality through the thoughts, beliefs, and energy you put out into the world. It's not just about positive thinking or wishful dreams, but about understanding the deep connection between your inner state and your external world. When you engage in conscious creation, you're no longer reacting passively to the circumstances life throws your way. Instead, you become the active architect of your experience, directing your mind, emotions, and actions to align with your desires and goals. At the heart of conscious creation is the understanding that thoughts are energy. What you think, feel, and believe consistently has the power to shape your reality. This idea is rooted in both ancient philosophies and modern science. For instance, quantum physics suggests that the act of observation influences the outcome of events on a subatomic level. Similarly, in spiritual traditions like the teachings of the Vedas, there's the concept of manas or mind, which is believed to be a tool for crafting our material and spiritual experiences. To consciously create, the first thing you need is awareness. You can't change what you aren't aware of. A person engaged in conscious creation observes their thoughts and feelings, recognizing the ones that serve their highest good and the ones that are rooted in fear or limitation. For example, if you're constantly thinking, "I'll never be successful," that thought is like a seed planted in your mind. Over time, it grows and manifests as repeated patterns of self-sabotage, missed opportunities, or a constant feeling of lack. But the moment you catch that thought and decide to replace it with a more empowering belief, such as, "I am open to success in all forms," you start to shift the energy you're sending out. This shift, even if subtle at first, starts to change the reality you experience. Deliberate intention is key. Conscious creation also involves deliberate intention. It's not enough to simply wish for something to happen. You need to set a clear intention that resonates with your true desires. This requires a deep understanding of what you truly want, which may differ from what society, family, or past conditioning has led you to believe you should want. When you set an intention from a place of authenticity, it carries much more power because it's aligned with your core values and soul's purpose. For someone who is practicing conscious creation, the mindset they adopt is one of empowerment and responsibility. They know that their thoughts, emotions, and actions ripple out into the world and return to them in the form of experiences. This doesn't mean they can control everything in life. Unexpected events, challenges, and setbacks are part of the human journey, but they can control how they respond to these situations. Instead of seeing difficulties as obstacles, They view them as opportunities for growth and learning. A powerful creator constantly asks themselves questions like, what am I focusing on today? Is this thought in alignment with the reality I want to create? Am I acting in ways that support my goals? Or am I holding myself back with limiting beliefs? These questions help to reframe their mindset and keep their attention on what they're building rather than on the things they fear or want to avoid. But there's another key aspect of conscious creation that we haven't explored yet. It's the power of emotional alignment. Practice emotional alignment. It's not just what you think, but how you feel that shapes your reality. Emotions are like magnets. They attract experiences that resonate with the energy they carry. If you think about abundance but feel constantly anxious or lacking, your emotions are sending mixed signals to the universe. The goal is to align your emotions with your thoughts. When you focus on what you desire, whether it's love, success, or peace, and cultivate the feeling of already having it, you begin to draw that reality closer to you. This is why practices like gratitude, visualization, and meditation are so powerful in conscious creation. They help you shift not only your thoughts but also your emotional state to match the frequency of what you're aiming to manifest. At its core, emotional alignment is about authenticity. It's when the emotions you feel are a true reflection of your inner self rather than reactions driven by fear, social expectations, or external pressure. When you're aligned emotionally, you feel a sense of peace and clarity because you're not constantly battling between what you feel and what you think you should feel. This inner alignment enables you to navigate life's challenges with more resilience and opens up a path to greater self-awareness and spiritual growth. One way to develop this awareness is through regular check-ins with yourself. Take a few moments each day to ask, how am I feeling right now? This simple question can reveal a lot about your emotional state and help you notice patterns that may be blocking your alignment. For example, if you frequently feel anxious or stressed, this may indicate that something in your life is out of balance. Emotional alignment doesn't mean avoiding difficult emotions, but rather understanding them, learning from them, and adjusting your actions accordingly. Another key aspect of emotional alignment is the practice of acceptance. Instead of resisting or denying certain emotions, allow yourself to feel them fully without judgment. Often, people try to suppress negative emotions, thinking that it will help them move forward. However, ignoring these feelings can lead to emotional blockages that prevent you from truly aligning with your inner self. When you accept your emotions, even the uncomfortable ones, you release the pressure of hiding or fixing them, which leads to a greater sense of inner peace. To deepen emotional alignment, it's important to recognize when your emotions are being influenced by external sources. Often, societal expectations, past conditioning, or the opinions of others can cloud our emotional responses. In those moments, it's crucial to return to your own truth, asking yourself, what do I truly feel, and why? This process of self-inquiry helps you separate your genuine emotions from those imposed on you by others, bringing you back into alignment with your authentic self. Mindfulness plays a crucial role. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in conscious creation. It helps you stay present and aware of the stories your mind is constantly telling you. We all have mental habits and thought patterns, many of which operate unconsciously. Mindfulness allows you to observe those patterns without judgment, giving you the space to choose which ones you want to keep and which ones you want to transform. It's like being the director of a movie, deciding how the story unfolds rather than simply acting out a script that was handed to you. Reclaim your power. In essence, conscious creation is about taking back your strength. So often, people feel like victims of circumstance, believing that life happens to them rather than through them. Conscious creators, on the other hand, understand that their inner world shapes their outer world. They know that they have the power to shift their reality at any moment by shifting their thoughts, emotions, and actions. This doesn't mean everything will always be easy or that there won't be challenges along the way. But it does mean that they are not helpless in the face of these challenges. They can always choose a new thought, a new belief, or a new action that will guide them toward the reality they want to experience. This isn't a new concept. It's something mystics and spiritual teachers have spoken of for centuries. One such mystic was Rumi, the Persian poet and Sufi master. He famously said, "Do not be satisfied with the stories that come before you. Unfold your own myth." What he meant is that we each hold the power to rewrite our narrative, to shape our lives into something more than what we've been told is possible. The question isn't whether you have power, it's whether you're willing to claim it and use it to create the life you desire. Rumi's teachings often revolved around the idea of returning to your true self, beyond the layers of fear, doubt, and conditioning that cloud your vision. He believed that reclaiming your power starts by stripping away everything that isn't you. This is what makes reclaiming power a deeply personal and spiritual journey. It's about finding the essence of who you are without the distractions of the external world. In modern times, we can easily get caught up in the chaos of life, work, relationships, responsibilities, and lose sight of our inner strength. The mystics, however, remind us that the power to transform our reality comes from within. It's about reconnecting with your essence, just as Rumi guided people to find their own path. How do you start reclaiming this power? But how do you start reclaiming this power when you feel overwhelmed or disconnected? It begins with small, mindful actions. Meditation and breathwork are key practices because they slow down the mind and allow you to tune into your inner world. When the noise of life quiets, even for a few moments, you begin to remember your potential. The more you practice this, the stronger your connection to your power becomes. Over time, you start to see the world differently. You see opportunities where before there were only obstacles, and you recognize that the limits you once believed in were illusions. Rumi's poetry also speaks of the heart as a source of immense power. He often compared the heart to a mirror, one that can reflect the truth if it's clear of the dust of doubt and fear. When you reclaim your power, you're polishing that mirror, seeing yourself clearly for the first time in a long while. One powerful story from Rumi's life that reflects this idea is when he met Shams of Tabriz, a wandering dervish. Their connection changed Rumi forever, not because Shams gave him new knowledge, but because he helped Rumi realize the wisdom that had always been inside of him. Shams didn't teach him anything new. Instead, he helped Rumi uncover what had been there all along. In the same way, reclaiming your power isn't about gaining something you don't have. It's about rediscovering the strength that's already within you. You don't need someone else to give you permission to be powerful. You simply need to allow yourself to step into that role, just as Rumi did when he began writing his poetry after his transformation with Shams. Your power is waiting for you to claim it, to harness it, and to use it for good. When you do, the shift in your life is undeniable. The mystics understood this truth, and now it's your turn to apply it in your own life. By embracing the mindset of a conscious creator, you start to see life as a canvas and your thoughts and emotions as the paintbrush. Each day, you get to decide what picture you want to create. It's not about controlling every single detail, but about directing the flow of your life in a way that feels aligned with your highest self. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Soon you realize that the world around you is constantly responding to the energy you put out. After you achieve that, you'll be able to mold how you see yourself, just like those who helped bring down the Berlin Wall. As we explained earlier, you can change your personal reality by shifting what you focus on and how you see yourself in the world. This requires tuning into the stories you've been telling yourself about what's possible and starting to rewrite them. If you start telling yourself, "I have the power to succeed," your mind opens up to new possibilities. You start seeing opportunities where before there was only doubt. You begin to take action with more confidence, and as a result, your reality starts to reflect your new belief. The shift may not happen overnight, but it begins the moment you choose to see yourself differently. It's all about directing your energy toward what you want rather than what you fear or doubt. Fear is a powerful force that can keep you stuck in old patterns. But when you shift your focus from fear to possibility, you start to create a different version of reality for yourself. This doesn't mean ignoring challenges or difficulties. Instead, it means approaching them with the belief that you are capable of overcoming them.